Jesus, I know it lift your heavy burden.
It is that time once again when we say good morning to you, Grenada, Carrier, Cupidi, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, the rest of the world. Welcome to Good Morning Grenada for today. It's Tuesday, the 17th day of March, 2026. It's Intercall. Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing fine. Before this day is over, He will come through for you. Remember that. It's Tuesday, another blessed day that the Lord has made. So, Heavenly Father, we just want to thank and praise you for waking us up this morning, clothed in our right mind. You are an awesome God. We have received many gifts this Christmas, but the greatest gift of all is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We pray that you will continue to bless us and keep us. May you order our steps, direct our paths, and cover us and our loved ones with the precious blood of Jesus. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. And let's say good morning, Tuesday blessings. Oh, give thanks to the Lord for His good, for His mercy endures forever. And that's Psalms 118 and verse 1. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Before the day is over, He will come through for you. Yep. Believe that. Good morning, Yulin Alexander, Jelly and McIntyre, Mary E. Banks, Rita Williams, Michelle Bernard, Monica Meros Williams. Good morning, Petlin, as always. Good morning, Jennifer Colimo. Hope you all are doing fine. Daddy Godwin and Miss Joan, good morning to you. Hope you all are doing just well. Yeah, hope all is well with you. It's a good day to have a good day in a good way. He will. Trust me, He will. But you've got to learn to give it all up. You know that? You know what I'm saying? Give it all up. You can't hold it and expect Him to fix it. You gotta let it go and say, hey, you fix this. I can't do this anymore. 27 minutes on to the 7 o'clock hour. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you had a great night's rest. Let not your weary heart be troubled. Pastor Laurie, Dominic, and the First Family. Good morning to you, the entire congregation at the Wester Hall New Testament Church of God. And while at that, good morning, Pastor Fletcher and the family, congregation. Auntie, good morning, how you doing? Teacher Carl Humphrey. The folks inside of Monlong. Good morning. How's everybody? Zeggy? Somebody looking for somebody. Alsted John, good morning to you and the family. Good morning to the folks on top of Progress Hill, Claudette and Pep and Anne, my cousin Anne Williams. Good morning to you. Big Red, good morning, bro. Miss Lyra, good morning. Yeah, good morning to the Gibbs family, the Alexander family. Margaret Renault, good morning. The wonderful folks inside of Pearls, good morning. Dwight Gibbs, good morning, bro. How you doing, Papi? Mr. Jim Alexander, former principal at McDonald College. We lovingly called him Chief. Yeah, good morning, Mr. Dennis John. We called him Dooms. I understand you in Grenada. I ain't get to see you since you left McDonald College, man. That's a long time ago. Yep. The word of the day today, that word is achieve. Achieve. A-C-H-I-E-V-E, achieve. It means to successfully reach a goal. To successfully reach a goal. Here's how we can use that word in a sentence. Students work hard to achieve their success. They're supposed to. Not all the time they do. The athletes, they've trained hard to achieve their success today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Who are you betting on today? Well, I am a McDonald College boy. Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Kenny James. And if it cannot be McDonald College, then it's got to be SAS. Yeah. That's in the boys. For the girls, well, of course, we're going St. David, you know what I'm saying? How that sound? Mr. and Mrs. Parrott, good morning. Yeah, give it all up. Scorpy, good morning to you. How you doing? Valentine Fraser. Yeah. Oh, the motivational tip of the day is up next. And I like this. Lauren would like this to start with gratitude. Begin each day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your mindset and sets a positive tone. I know Lauren would love this. She always says gratitude is a must. Eon and the guys in Hermitage, good morning. Hope all is well. Yeah, hope everything is, everybody's doing fine, man. When you see what's happening now. Yeah, we need a dose of this. Yeah, start each day with gratitude. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Sylvina Charles, good morning. Sylvina says, innocent, you is Meme. How you know people so? I'm a true Grenadian. Veronica Sandy, good morning to you. Anne-Marie Farray, good morning. Peppy, good morning to you and the folks inside of Toko Bay. All you doing good? Nice. 22 minutes onto this 7 o'clock hour. Erling out there in the US, good morning to you. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Jelly and McIntyre, good morning. Of course, I remember now Lydia Courtney Francis, my dear friend. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Everything is everything, right? Nice. Miss Annie and Joe, good morning to you all. Yep. Good morning to the entire home circle. Daniel, Delia, Dumpling, Dion. Good morning, Ashlyn and daughters. Micah, good morning, and the family. Good morning. Roger and the guys. All you doing good, Corty? Carla. Nice. The folks to the south of the island, Grandans Valley, good morning. Monrouge. Good morning to Julia Moore and family. Long time I ain't go Fantasia, boy. Yeah, Fantasia on a Mayday with teachers. Oh my goodness. Used to be a blast. I don't think they enjoy it like that anymore, you know. Let his word be established, don't be. No. Yeah. Morning, Basil Bernstein Caliste. Wayne Maxwin. Mr. Farry Lindsay, how you doing? Remember those years, man? Wayne George. Good morning, Carla Zando Peters. Hazel and Miller, good morning to you, my dear. The folks in Mount Craven and St. Patrick, how are you doing? Marian Fletcher and family. Gillian Simons family. Yeah. Mr. Gordon Bowler, good morning to you. How are you doing? Mr. Neville Glynn. Mr. Leslie Nicholas. Mr. Lex McBain. Yeah. Mr. Ray and Miss Annie Charles. Miss Catherine Rennie, she's now Miss King. Good morning to you, Pastor King. Good morning also. Destined to win, overcomer. Good morning. Natalia Ross just joined us. How's up there? Are they cold? Never be cold with the amount of heat that fella giving up there. What's buzzing? Let's see what's buzzing this morning. Buzzing. All right. Intercall 2026 opens with 24 schools in action. And we're also hearing that the Democratic People's Movement, the DPM, well, it prepares for its first Congress. In the region, Trump administration seeks removal of Cuban president. As a matter of fact, this morning I will be joined by Chester Humphrey and Malachi Doughton to talk on the current situation in Cuba. And Cuba just got rocked with an earthquake. When it rains, it really pours, boy. Internationally, U.S. allies reject military action in the Strait of Hormuz. And in sports, exciting finals lineup confirmed in Fast 5 netball. These stories and more coming up right after these messages. Don't you go anywhere. Stick and stay with us. It's Good Morning Grenada. It's Tuesday. 18 minutes on to 7.
The Inland Revenue Division and the Accountant General Division are coming to a community near you. That's right, our satellite offices are on the move, bringing services closer to home. No long travel, no hassle. Just quick, convenient service right in your community. We'll be on location to help with all your tax and vendor registration matters. Ask about tax refunds, file objections, check property tax balances, pay your taxes on the spot, and yes, you can even register for GTax and sign up for the new vendors portal. Catch us at these locations: in St. George, at the Bruce Street Mall on Friday, February 27th and March 27th, at our Young Street office on March 7th and March 14th, in St. John on Friday, February 27th at St. Francis Street. We'll be at the Grenville Car Park in St. Andrew and at the Carriacou District Revenue Office on Friday, March 13th. And on Friday, March 20th, we'll be at the District Revenue Offices in St. Patrick and St. Mark. All locations open from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Longer hours, more convenience, better service for you. The Inland Revenue Division and the Accountant General Division's Satellite Office. Don't miss this opportunity.
Looking to shop online from your favorite store?
Assist you.
Amazon and Shein? With GPC Global, it's never been easier. Get your very own US address and shop from around the world. With GPC Global, you can order the latest trends and must-have items, all delivered straight to Grenada to your closest post office for your pickup. We offer the cheapest rates, and our service is reliable and quick. No more waiting for weeks for your packages. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Join the Grenada Postal family today and start shopping smarter. Visit us online at www.grenadapostal.com or call us on 437-POST. That's 437-7678. GPC Global, your gateway to the world.
The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union introduces its new digital platform, managing your finances at any time from anywhere.
As a part-time student, balancing work and studies can be a real challenge. But with GCCU's digital app, these worries are no more. My parents can now remotely transfer funds to my account and I can check my balance at any time, giving me the freedom to achieve my goals.
My days can be long and tedious. With this app, I can ensure my loan is paid on time, transfer funds to someone else's account, and check my balances. I don't have to rush to do business during my lunch hour or after work anymore.
With this app, I can request checks to pay my suppliers, letters for my business transactions. Don't have to leave my farm to go stand in line.
The Grenville Credit Union digital platform. It's convenient and secure banking right at your fingertips. Download the app today from the Play Store or App Store or call 442-8602-459-4325 or 416-8467 for further information.
This is the morning edition of news for today, Tuesday, 17th March 2026. In the headlines, Intercall 2026 opens with 24 schools in action. A Democratic People's Movement prepares for first Congress. In the region, Trump administration seeks removal of Cuban president. Internationally, U.S. allies reject military action in the Strait of Hormuz. And in sports, exciting finals lineup confirmed in Fast 5 netball. We've got the details to these and more right after these messages.
Are you looking for a reliable, affordable, and customer-friendly pharmacy? Look no further than Hills and Valley Pharmacy, the nation's leading healthcare products and services provider. We are committed to serving you at convenient locations. Find an extensive and affordable selection of prescription and over-the-counter drugs and medical supplies at Church Street, Hillsborough, Carriacou, Jubilee Street, Grenville, St. Andrew, near the bus terminal, and Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George. Our committed team is always available to offer valuable assistance for managing your health and wellness. Discover the additional benefits of our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street and our Medcare Center on Grenville Street, where we provide in-house physiotherapy, massage therapy, doctor consultations, and eye care services. Our commitment is to satisfy all your healthcare needs, including competitive prices, loyalty rewards, and special discounts for seniors. Contact us at 435-6904 and WhatsApp 535-4734. Choose Hills and Valley Pharmacy. Remember, your health is our business.
A trip to Grenada from April 4th to 6th, 2026. A destination you'll never regret. This isn't just any destination. It's where passion meets performance. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games, hosted at the iconic Kirani James Athletic Stadium in St. George's. Under the theme, Passion Drives Performance. The best of the Caribbean's junior athletes will compete in electrifying track and field competition. Organize now and be part of an experience like no other, where talent, passion, and perseverance come alive on the land of 100,000 Jab Jab. Feel the passion, celebrate the performance, and create memories that will last a lifetime in pure Grenada, the land of warmth, spirit, and unstoppable energy. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games. Whenever happy to see me, nobody is strangers. One big family. It's not just
Good morning, everyone. With the details, I am Gordon Joseph, of course, always recognizing graphics and his audience from Hot 98 FM. In the local news, the 2026 Grenada Inter-Secondary Schools Athletics Championships, known as Intercall, gets underway this morning. Over 900 athletes from 24 schools are competing in 88 events at the Dr. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. The games, which date back to 1965, have expanded from a one-day event to its current three-day format. Although Thursday is the climax of the event with the highly anticipated 4x4 relays and the announcement of the winners, each day features a competitive mixture of around 30 long-distance, sprint, and finals events. Meanwhile, the Royal Grenada Police Force, the RGPF, is reminding patrons that several items are strictly prohibited at the games, including glass bottles, weapons, and any object that could pose a safety risk. Police say security checks will be conducted at every entry points, and are urging the public to cooperate with officers to ensure a safe environment for spectators, athletes, and officials. The political climate in Grenada continues to heat up ahead of the next general election. The Democratic People's Movement, the DPM, is preparing to host its first Congress this Sunday at the Grenada Trade Center. Interim political leader Peter David says the event will mark a major step as the party moves to formalize its internal structure. We have more on this.
The delegates are going to be attending from all 15 constituencies. We are going to elect a national executive. We are going to formalize our constitution. We are going to announce some of our candidates for the next general elections. And we have done this the right way. Persons have been nominated from the constituency. The communities were consulted in the process. We've done our polling, and we've done a bottom-up process to arrive at the persons the movement has come to decide are capable of leading this country.
The DPM joins other political parties ramping up activity as election momentum builds across the country. That takes us to the end of the local segment of news. Stay with us. The regional and international developments, they are straight ahead. In the region, the Trump administration is pushing for Cuban leader Miguel Diaz-Canel's ouster as a precondition for negotiations, while Cuba opens investment to exiles and Americans. We have more in this CBS report.
The humanitarian crisis continues in Cuba, with thousands of residents in the dark following a nationwide blackout. Cuba hasn't received oil in about 3 months. The U.S. and Cuban leaders have been discussing the future of the island nation, with President Trump saying this at the White House on Monday.
I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation.
President Trump's comments come as Cuban leaders announce Cubans in Miami and around the world can invest in businesses and property on the island.
Right now, U.S. law does not allow this, but Cuba's doors are open. It would take for them to change their legislation to allow U.S. companies to freely invest in our country.
But here in South Florida, critics are vehemently pushing back on the suggestion.
Anybody who is going to be investing, especially with this regime, is insane. Why? Because, you know, the adage is fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
And the Ministry of Energy says that power is starting to come back to the island.
A United States military radar system installed at the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport in Tobago has been dismantled and is expected to be removed from the island. The system, installed in late 2025 as part of cooperation between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago, was used to support efforts to combat drug trafficking and monitor regional airspace. A U.S. military aircraft is expected to transport the equipment off the island in the coming days. Officials have not yet indicated whether the system will be replaced or if additional security measures will be introduced. Looking further afield, the U.S. is facing growing isolation over President Trump's plan to send warships and minesweepers to ensure tankers can transit safely to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. We have more in this Al Jazeera report.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday publicly pressured foreign leaders, expressing frustration. None has been enthusiastic about helping to escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Trump argues countries like Japan and China, who rely on most of their oil traveling through the strait, have an obligation to help secure it after it was effectively shut down by Iran. Since the U.S. and Israel launched war on Iran, gas prices have gone up by almost $1 in many U.S. states. That's 30% more than many Americans were paying just a month ago. As U.S. allies balk at sending warships, Trump had this response.
Maybe they don't want to be targeted, but I say, wouldn't matter if you're targeted or not, because this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now.
Trump told reporters the U.S. military has struck more than 7,000 Iranian targets, destroying Iranian missile and drone manufacturing plants. The Israeli military has projected strikes on Iran could continue for several more weeks. But Trump insists Israel's not considering using a nuclear weapon should the war escalate.
And that brings us to the end of the regional and international segment of news. Stay with us. The sporting highlights are straight ahead. Well, good morning, sporting fans. As we make a shift from Intercall, the stage is set for the finals of the Peter David Fast 5 Knockout Netball Tournament following a weekend of intense semi-final action. In the sub-junior division, Westmoreland Shooting Stars advanced to the final after another dominant performance. In the juniors, Trending Girls pulled off a major upset to reach the final, where they will be joined by The Unknown. And in the senior division, Sprang's Jet Stars secured their place in the championship match after defeating Elites United. The tournament wraps up on Saturday, March 21st, with finals and a closing ceremony expected to deliver an exciting finish. Now, that's all the sports on paper here, but as we said, Intercall is on today. I'll be a bit innovative this morning. I'll give the first person who can call and give me their opinion on Intercall. We have 1 minute in which we can do that. I hope, management doesn't write me up for this, but I'm just feeling interactive with the news this morning. Who's your best bet for Intercall? Who's your choice? If you can call me now, we've got 60 seconds in which you can voice your opinion on that. If not, we'll go straight to the weather. All right, so the clock is ticking. Let me see who is that brave person. I've already voiced my opinion on that. I am an old McDonald College boy, and we had our times. I don't know if this could be the year for us again. I know St. David is coming hot. We do have a caller. Welcome to GBN News. Good morning.
Good morning.
Who are you backing this for Intercall 2026?
I'm backing GBSS. Grace is a GBSS.
What school do you attend?
I attend St. Joseph's Convent.
You attend St. Joseph's Convent, but you're backing GBSS?
Yes, for the boys division, and for the girls division, of course I must back Convent.
Well, I am happy that you called, but let's see, time alone will tell. All right, and where are you located at the moment?
I'm located in Bellevue, St. David.
You're located in Bellevue, St. David, and you're backing Convent and GBSS. What happened to St. David's Catholic Secondary?
Daddy supports that school, so automatically I will not support that school.
But you're supposed to support Daddy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You made my news this morning. Have a good day and all the best with your wishes, all right?
Thank you.
Have a great day now. Folks, that's how interactive we are here at the GBN. That's the sports. May the best team win. Sportsmanship is the name of the game today, all right? Athletes, you go out there and you give off your best. Maybe someone's best is better than your best, but be a good sportsman. That's the sports. Stay with us. The weather forecast is straight ahead. And folks, for the latest weather forecast, we join forecaster Jonathan Price at the forecast desk at the MBIA. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning to you and good morning, listeners. Here is the weather for today, Tuesday the 17th of March 2026, as recorded at the Morris Bishop International Airport. It is currently fair. Winds are coming from the east at 15 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is 1014.8 millibars, which is above normal and rising. Present temperature is 26.2 degrees Celsius and relative humidity 65%. Yesterday's maximum was 30.1 degrees Celsius and the minimum last night 25.4 degrees Celsius. Only a trace of rainfall was recorded over the past 24 hours, hence the total for the month remains at 14.4 millimeters. And now for the public forecast for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique Valley for today and tonight. The weather is expected to be partly cloudy and windy with brief light to moderate showers. Today's max will be 30 degrees Celsius, with winds east-northeasterly to east-southeasterly at 14 to 24 miles per hour, gusting higher at times. Seas will be moderate to rough with waves 7 to 10 feet in northeasterly to easterly swells, hence a marine advisory remains in effect. Low tide will be at 8:30 a.m. and high tide at 2:45 p.m. Sunset will be at 6:17 and sunrise at 6:12. Just to repeat the public forecast, valid for today and tonight, the weather is expected to be partly cloudy and windy with brief light to moderate showers. And once again, a marine advisory remains in effect. From the forecast at Morris Bishop International Airport, I'm Jonathan Price. Have a great day.
Jonathan, just before you run off, from your models that are showing up on the screen, what weather can we expect for the 3 days of intercall?
And so far, the 3-day forecast is looking, one moment. The 3-day forecast is looking for generally partly cloudy conditions today. Tomorrow, it may become cloudy at times with a few light to moderate showers, and Thursday is looking to be a generally fair day with only the chance of brief light morning and nighttime showers.
And that will be good for the athletes. It'll keep them not too hot, but not too cold either.
Precisely.
Thank you, Jonathan. Have a great day as usual. Folks, the weather forecast came to you with the kind compliments of Rennick & Thompson Company Limited.
Get money where you are, almost anywhere you are, send money over with Western Union. This is Woo, oh, oh, oh. This is Woo. Is Western Union. Send to your friends and your family. With Western Union, we're moving money. No matter where you are, you will never fall. Get money where you are, almost anywhere you are, send money over. Move it for better.
Western Union, moving money for better.
4 minutes after 7 o'clock. To end the news, here's a recap of the headlines. Intercall 2026 opens with 24 schools in action. And we also heard that the DPM prepares for first Congress. In the region, Trump administration seeks removal of Cuban president. And while on that, it has just been brought to our attention that there has been an earthquake in Cuba. When it rains, it really pours. We'll have a more comprehensive story in our lunchtime newscast on that. Internationally, U.S. allies reject military action in the Strait of Hormuz. And in sports, exciting finals lineup confirmed in this Fast 5 netball tournament. That has been the morning edition of news for today, Tuesday, the 17th day of March, 2026. On behalf of the entire news department, I am Gordon Joseph, thanking you for viewing and listening, wishing you a safe and productive day, going out and support all the athletes. Yeah, I know you have your team that you are backing, you've got your school, you have got your alma mater, but going out and support athletics on a whole, all right, and be a good sport. To Graphics and the team from Hot 98 FM, thank you for sharing your time with us as usual. Have a good day now, everybody. Bye-bye.
My name is Dr. Abigail Noel, and I am the head of department at the Accident and Emergency Department. One thing I love about Mount Sinai is their spirit of collaboration. They came in with ideas that have transformed our department in real time. The implementation of ID bands for every patient that comes through the emergency department. That has decreased patient errors. They have implemented defibrillators on every ward. Thus far, 128 staff members have been trained in defibrillator use. The huddle system is basically small meeting with all team members. It improves communication between staff members as well as with patients. This transformation means everything to the emergency department and by extension the health system of Grenada.
Shop with confidence at Quartz. Get the lowest prices guaranteed. Get appliances, furniture, electronics, and so much more. If you find a lower price on any other products elsewhere, we'll match the price. Plus, we'll give you back 110% of the difference. Shop with confidence only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Special conditions apply.
The amendments to the existing Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act shall allow for the decriminalization of cannabis in Grenada. It permits the possession of up to 56 grams of cannabis and 15 grams of resin for individuals aged 21 and older.
The amendment allows for the growth of up to 4 cannabis plants per household for medicinal, therapeutic, or horticultural purposes. The amendment provides a legal framework for the Rastafari use and cultivation of cannabis as a sacrament in registered places of worship and at exempt events.
Amendments to the Drug Abuse Act also mandates the expungement of past criminal records and the immediate discontinuance of pending court cases for minor cannabis offenses.
The amendment replaces criminal charges for those aged 18 to 20 with mandatory rehabilitation and counseling, ensuring no criminal record is created for young adults. Amendments to the Drug Abuse Act centers on the decriminalization of cannabis and not full legalization.
For more information, kindly contact the Cannabis Secretariat at cannabiscommission@gov.gd. The Cannabis Secretariat, guiding responsible cannabis use and awareness.
Distributed by Echo Blue Limited. Visit us on the Lansopine Main Road or call 405-4818.
Grenada's only Service Expo returns. Join the GCSI at the 3rd edition of its Services Expo 2026. On March 27th and 28th at the Grenada Trade Center under the theme, The Future Has Arrived. With 30 exhibitor spaces available, this is your chance to showcase your service, connect nationally and regionally, and grow your brand. Sponsorships and booth spaces are now open. Call 439-9275 or visit GCSI Grenada on Facebook and Instagram for more details. This ad was sponsored by the Investment Migration Agency, Grenada, and FaceCard AI.
In
In Grenada, sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. They teach discipline, teamwork, and resilience. They inspire the next generation to push boundaries and chase excellence. That's why the Investment Migration Agency of Grenada is proud to support sports initiatives as part of our commitment to youth and national development. When we invest in sports programs, we invest in the future. We invest in the health and well-being of our youth, and we invest in broadening Grenada's reach, proudly connecting our athletes, our talent, and our nation to a global community. Together, we all go further. The Investment Migration Agency. Unlock the possibilities.
It's 11 minutes after 7 o'clock, and at this time, I'm happy to join Sergeant Troy Paul with the traffic report this morning. He's going to tell us all about the traffic arrangements and security checks and so forth for Intercall 2026. Good morning, Sarge.
A pleasant morning to you, and it's always a pleasure to let persons know what is happening traffic-wise in and around the trial state of Grenada. And at this moment, we know at this particular time, we do not have experienced heavy flowing traffic in most of the areas, especially coming to the town and all this adjoining roads. However, we know with the exception of certain places that we do have a heavier normal flowing traffic than the other areas, and such as the Calavini St. Paul's Public Road, where we've been observing for the past a year and so, and that area has a little more traffic than normal at this particular time than the other areas. Nevertheless, again, at this particular time, I just want to encourage drivers, especially motorists, to please at least leave home if you're traveling in that particular route so that you can avoid the congestion as we normally would experience on the mornings along these routes. But for all the other areas, the normal flowing traffic at this particular time, but we know as we get closer to the 8 o'clock hour, these are the areas where we have a heavier flow of traffic, especially coming to the town of St. George's and most upper towns in Grenada and also Carriacou as well. This morning, we know a lot is happening today. It is where we start the secondary school bantering. But before we dive right into that, I just want to let persons know the accident state for the past 24 hours. We had a total of 11 minor accidents, and we've seen an increase compared to the following day. And they are as follows. One police station reported 1 minor accident. We had 4 from traffic headquarters. South St. George Police Station, 2. St. David, 1 minor. And the Grenville Police Station, we had 3 minor accidents, giving us that total of 11 minor accidents. And within that, we had a few injuries coming up from those minor accidents. But the injuries are minor as well. And we just want to let persons know that their safety is paramount while driving, and appeal to the pedestrians as well to be cautious on the road. And we spoke a little bit about the secondary school games this morning, and we know definitely it's the day where the intercall kicks off, and the traffic departments definitely have a traffic plan in place for that games, and we know that along the Queen's Park Public Road, the entire road there will be no parking from Keep Left, or even before that we normally started right up to Cherry Hill. On both sides of the road will be no parking. Also, one side of the road, no parking, where we normally accommodate the team buses on one side of the road are there. In addition to that, the Q&E James parking area will be mainly for VIP and special invited guests from the association. the schools organized, and then you have the general parking will be at the Wesley College grounds along with the Gate 6, a portion of the Gate 6 as well. So persons coming, if you're driving, attending the game, please be mindful. The emergency route will be in effect, so persons, you would not be able to come down Cemetery Hill or even from Lucas Street, access there once the games have begun. And we know the emergency route is there in case we have serious emergencies where persons will have to be taken to the General Hospital from the stadium. So please bear this in mind. However, we have necessary signs giving persons directions and guidance as they try to access the stadium and its environs. That continues today, tomorrow, and Thursday, where we have the final day where all the excitement will climax. And we know it's like a carnival atmosphere, especially on the last day that evening. So throughout the day, we expect the traffic to be flowing around the stadium and its environs. This morning as well, they also would have a torch run, the Intercall Association, from Melville Street leading right up to the National Stadium. So from 8 o'clock, expect a little bit of extra traffic, especially in the town of St. George's, as a result of that torch run. I just want to appeal to students. Leave home those prohibited items. They will be confiscated, or if you have the offensive ones, if your intention is to cause harm or so forth, I'm going to appeal to the parents. Please take a little search in your children's bag and make sure what they're having there is hydration, fluid, water, Gatorade, and so forth, and they do not have any illegal substance, illegal offensive weapon, and so on, because depending on the object or so forth, they may be arrested. So, parents, please be guided as well. Even the students, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, careful what you put in your bag or what you allow your friends to put in your bag before entering the stadium. I just want to make that appeal. Let us dress modestly. As I always say, children should dress like children. Even if you're out of uniform, we advise you to still dress modestly. Remember, do not, if you leave home to go to the National Stadium, do not end up in Grenada. We're talking traffic, but I just wanted to get these safety things out so that parents should, let's be a little bit more responsible. Find out every now and then where your kids are and just check in on them to make sure that they're safe. Despite they say that they're leaving for the National Stadium, some end up in odd places where we normally would have to find them and call parents and so on. As we dive right back into the traffic or all things traffic, we know now as that project continues in the Boca, snow from the Monkuma come down and other places at night where we will have some traffic delays. We just want to advise drivers, motorists to please pay attention to that. And also, please visit the Grenada Police Force page where you have a lot of these traffic updates, and they will be readily available to assist you if you forgot at any point in time what is happening. And that is all we have for folks this morning, unless my dear hosts, entertain for a little bit. But I just want to let persons know road safety is everybody's business, so let us definitely practice road safety to see the reduction. Remember, we're going for 10% reduction in accidents for 2026, and we cannot do it alone. So that we're encouraging you as well, drivers and pedestrians.
Sarge, who are you backing today, tomorrow, and Thursday?
I'll be quite frank about it. I went to St. David's Catholic Secondary School.
So that means you'll be backing McDonald College, right?
If that's how you put it, to get that message across, then so be it.
Thank you very much. Let's ask the question. If you're texting or doing anything else while you should be maneuvering that vehicle, then...
Who is driving?
Who's driving?
Remember, the kids are out.
Yeah.
Who is driving?
Yeah, be very, very cautious today. Thank you, Sarge. Have a great day, you and your department. I know you've got your task cut out for you today and tomorrow and Thursday. It will be tough, but I know you've got what it takes to execute. So have a great day.
You as well, and also all your listeners.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Folks, that has been the traffic report. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I've got former Senator and President of the Senate, Chester Humphrey, as we look at the current situation in Cuba. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
They come from near, they come from far. Once a year, Grenada holds its breath as the best athletes from our secondary schools converge on the Kirani James Athletic Stadium for a special moment in time. Intercall, 90 events, 24 schools, 3 days, 2 champions to be crowned. Intercall 2026, March 17th to the 19th. It's more than just about medals. It's about school pride. It's your legacy on the line. Intercall 2026. Come, be part of history. Join the coverage live on GBN Television, the home of Intercall 2026.
GBN's broadcast of Intercall 2026 is made possible by Answer Coating, Grenville Credit Union, Rise and Shine Supermarket, Grenada Paper Products, Grenlec, the National Training Agency, Banfields, Rush Distributors, Innovair Air Conditioning Units, Flow, Echo Motors, Barry's Engineering, and Grenada Development Bank.
Finally, before the digital age, before the world moved at the speed of a click, there was a signal connecting a nation. In 1986, a journey in broadcasting began in Grenada, a journey that would grow into a trusted voice across the country. For 40 years, through radio and television, we've been there for the stories that shaped our nation, the news that mattered, the voices that informed us, the moments that brought us together. Your stories, your voices, your moments. The Grenada Broadcasting Network, 40 years strong. One nation, one network.
Junior. In a world where our health defines our future and the Caribbean stands on the front lines of climate change, rising NCDs and global challenges, knowledge becomes our greatest defense. Caribbean Medical TV is your guide on the journey to wellness and insight, featuring our region's own doctors, nurses, climate specialists and medical institutions. From physical well-being to the emotional and mental balance we all deserve. Caribbean TV empowers you because building a healthier future isn't just a regional goal, it's a global responsibility. In the Caribbean, vitality isn't just a goal, it's a way of living. Connect with the knowledge, hope, and the power of Caribbean resilience on Caribbean Medical TV, where awareness becomes power. Join the conversation, join the movement. Be viewing Season 4 of Caribbean Medical TV right here on this station. You're going to...
Good morning, folks. It's 25 minutes after 7 o'clock, and welcome to the conversation. And we are going to have an in-depth conversation this morning. We've got 35 minutes in which to do that. I'm joined by former senator and the president of the Senate, my good friend Chester. I usually call him Chess.
That's fine with me.
How are you doing this morning?
Quite squat.
Sharp as always.
Well, I hope so.
Yes. Okay, so this morning we want to zero, and I informed my audience on that we want to look specifically at Cuba, because I know you have close ties and so forth to Cuba. What's happening with Cuba now? How is Cuba? From other than what we're getting in the news.
Well, the people of Cuba and the Cuban state is facing its most perilous period. And that is so because of the new military policies of the United States and its approach in a world in which the United States, like all empires before it, is facing decline. And because it is facing decline and there is a reordering in the world with the rise of new economic forces, and with those new economic forces there's been a shift in the balance of power in the world. And that naked military might does not necessarily mean that you will have it all your way economically, because remember, the whole system is built on preserving economic dominance. That's what the system is. So if you go back to the period when international capital was accumulating, its primitive accumulation of capital relied on two things, right? Well, three things actually. It relied first of all on expansion. It relied on a universal policy of genocide. It relied on the acquisition of territory. So then Europe started to expand. And we know the old story, which was rewritten about the Christopher Columbuses and so on, right? No, the extension of Europe and the consolidation and the development of capital was based on this expansionist ideology and belief. And with that came the belief of superiority of one set of humans over the next. And so to justify the expansion, the forceful seizure of territory, and together with it the genocide, what I would describe then as the holocausting of people, led to the expansion of Europe into the Americas, right? And they've set up a system based on genocide, seizure of territory, and African enslavement. But the thing that gave them the dominance in the world was the mass enslavement of African people and the mass movement of human beings. Millions were brought to these parts, right, in which labor was extracted and so on. And well, we have 35 minutes, so I can't give a detail in the history. So,
but we still have seeing that coming back again.
Well, that's the point. It's coming back again because that whole order has been challenged, and challenged successfully. We've had a period of the anti-colonial struggle when Europe was at war, self-destroying themselves. Britain then was the major colonial, was at its apex and dominated the world. All right, and by World War II, that dominance of Britain was dismantled because of the fight between themselves, and emerging out of that was an extension of Europe, essentially America, and America became the dominant international force, and they set up a world system in which they control all of the resources in the world. So independence really meant nothing, right? However, as the innate struggle of humankind for genuine freedom took place, you had the dismantling of the British colonial empire, the rise of independent countries, the rise of the national liberation movements. You had, of course, the coming into being of China. As you remember, Britain waged a war against China, right? Subjugated China with a massive opium trade that sent millions, attempted to destroy Chinese civilization, all in an attempt to maintain the colonial control and dominance of the world. However, by 1949, China was able to liberate itself, right, by Mao Zedong, that expelled the Japanese, because the Japanese was now in collaboration with section of European international capital, right? No. That has now changed the face of the world, right? We had enclaves which still existed. So you had South African apartheid, which was a system of an extension of Europe and the domination and not only exploitation, but also the genocide of people. And therefore, the system of apartheid was set up in order to achieve that. A similar thing was done in what was then Rhodesia and so on, the national liberation movements, the rise of the then Soviet Union, etc. And so the world had a kind of balance, right? Today, the people of China have regained their dignity, and not only have they regained their dignity as a nation, but as a civilization, right? You had the American defeat in Vietnam, so that you had a chipping away of American global power. Now that has further declined with the rise of nations in Southeastern Asia, right? America has now control with its replacement of British dominance. They then control the oil. So when you go to Iran, remember what we've seen happening in Iran goes back to the 50s, when every major conflict in the world today has the fingerprints of the British on it. Okay. Whether it's the internal struggles in Africa between different African nations, and remember there were several different African nations. The Europeans call them tribes, but they're indeed nations, similar to North America. Because when you say tribes, it has a certain insinuation that plays on our conscience. Well, this is a long story, and I don't want to go back
and
there.
We don't have the time.
All right. So essentially, what has happened now is there's a reordering with the rise of China, right? And what the Chinese have been able to do has never been accomplished by human civilization before. In that, within a period of 70 years, right, China has moved the largest number of human beings in all of mankind's civilization history out of poverty. China has moved from a poor, impoverished, peasant-based economy to the cutting edge of technology in all areas of human endeavor. And that presents a challenge to American power and the power of Europe. So that America now finds itself that it has to now resort to extreme measures. And even in the resort of those measures, you find that it's even attacking allies, right? So the world is in a very precarious place. As you know, there are nuclear weapons available, there are nuclear states. And what's happening as we see unfold now in Cuba is that we have a rise, and it's not Trump, it's the American system. Don't forget that. It's the American system that has thrown up Trump, right? And its appeal is racist, is bigoted, and you can look at it. So we're in a kind of dangerous period in which international capital, a section of the American financial and oligarch have taken control of power. America is no longer a democratic state. It has democratic features, but essentially it's run by a military-industrial complex. And as far as they are concerned, they find that their power is slipping and they will do anything. And we've seen that. We've seen this split that's occurring now, within international capital, and that the Europeans have a different approach, even the Canadians. And the announcement of wanting to take Greenland and taking over Venezuela and in a flippant manner, right? And Cuba is next. Is driven by this militaristic philosophy. America is the most militaristic nation that the earth has ever seen, that humankind has ever seen. Make absolutely no mistake about that. Why we are not aware of this is because they have the force of their propaganda and the fact that they are able to condition the minds of people through distortions and lies and mass disinformation, which we all consume and come around to believe. Right? So we're in a very dangerous period in the world, all calculated to stem the development of China that has regained its civilization, has regained its respect, has regained its place in the world. Now, China as a civilization has never been militaristic, right? But it has always been a civilization with advanced science. It went through a period of poverty when British colonialism and other European forces was able to invade it, take sections of it, using Japanese imperialism also to do that job, right? So Cuba is faced in its most perilous time at the moment. And the way this is being achieved is, first, they've cut off all, oil, look, energy is what drives...
Energy is life.
Energy is life.
Energy is life, yes.
Because life is a form of energy, yes. when you come to think about it. So it faces a very perilous time. And in the meantime, the political political class in CARICOM has been emasculated. Even those that had a modicum of progressive outlook, even those who had a modicum of progressive nationalism within them, are now all scampering and running and so on. And Cuba is basically left alone to be toasted by the United States in the most inhumane way, because hospitals are closing. And let me if you want to understand the soul, to use a spiritual term, of the America today, look at how America aided and abetted the mass genocide of the Palestinian people. Over 60,000 children were wantonly murdered, bombed in Gaza. We saw this in real time. We didn't have to read this in a history book. We saw it in real time, in which America provided the bombs, they provided the technical know-how, they provided the support, right? And now they have chosen war against Iran. And look at the distortion. If you look at the British media, especially the BBC, they describe it as the Iranian war. There's no Iranian war. There's American-Israeli war on Iran. Just the same way they use these words about African slavery. There was no African slavery. There was European slavery in Africans. So they use that kind of sophistication and that kind of mind conditioning to get you to think in a particular way. The way in which they carry the news, the things that they emphasize. Since they've launched this war on Iran, you have not seen a single building in rubble anywhere in Tel Aviv. Yet they accuse Iran of suppressing the news when the news is more suppressed in Israel than any place else. I'm just using that as an aside in order to set the tone of what we are facing. Now, we are required by moral rectitude to express our solidarity with Cuba. I know there's a very limited thing we can do. We don't have energy to send. We don't have ships that can go there, right? But Cuba, as a political model, has helped Grenada in particular tremendously.
Yeah.
Remember, Cubans died on Grenadian soil. Ordinary Cubans who left their homes to come here to help us build an international airport, to modernize the Grenadian economy, to give Grenada a chance to address its issues, centuries-old issues of poverty, right? To help transform the Grenadian economy. The Cubans came here and they were murdered by Americans. I mean, I know all the different propaganda around and all that kind of stuff, but the fact of the matter is, Cuban blood was shed here, and Grenadians benefit. We have a modern international airport, which right now is a linchpin of the Grenadian economy. Yes, it's a linchpin of the Grenadian economy. We had some good news just a few days ago that Grenada has been able to restore its market in the United States. But how does the fish get there?
Yeah.
It gets there by wide-body jet. How did the wide-body jet get here? It gets here because of Cuba's contribution in the field of medicine. Almost every specialty in medicine practiced in Grenada right now is being done by Cubans. All my medical checkups, I go to Cuban doctors. I know most of them, right? I mean, what Cuba has done for us in Grenada, the amount of ordinary people, this generation wouldn't know of the time when there was only one university scholarship, right? Today we have more scholarships than we have people. The amount of persons that Cuba has trained, free, gratis, and for nothing, as a mark of solidarity. The current hospital that we have, with all its inadequacies, was a gift given to us by Cuba on a simple question put by Fidel Castro when he visited Grenada. How can Cuba help you? That is after the American invasion. The American invaded and they left. And what they left? They left us with an old hospital building infested with roaches and termites and leaking roofs. They gave us nothing. And when Fidel arrived, he said, how can Cuba help you? And in that rally in Tantine, past the Roy St. John playing field, thousands of Grenadians shouted, we want a hospital. And within a matter of 2 years, Cubans were here and a hospital was built.
So, having said all that, I mean, and we could go on and on, because it's not just Grenada Cuba has done for, I mean, the region, and by extension, outside of the region.
The world
has felt the impact of Cuba. But now that Cuba is in this state, what can we do as not just Grenada but collectively as a region? Because Cuba was really
it breaks my heart. And when you ask me how I'm doing, and I said fine, I'm speaking, that answer was really just on a personal level.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to wake up this morning, I slept pretty well. I got here on my own, you know, so at 74 years of age, I still have my mental faculties going. So for me, but I live in a world in which emotionally I am very much disturbed from what I see happening here and how I see things playing out. When I could sit and look at a place like Guyana, talking about Cuba must change into an American democracy, really? Under Obama, I think it was. What happened in Haiti? What happened in Libya? Where the democracy under which we lived for so long left us with a degree of poverty in which, and let me just take Venezuela for example. Before Chavez, Venezuela had always been the world's largest reservoir of oil. But the grinding poverty that existed in Venezuela prior to Chavez, and for many years before that, in which the American companies dominated the Venezuelan economy, where is the human transformation? American companies dominate Latin America. Where is the transformation? Millions are in grinding poverty. So we live in a system in which the so-called democratic order that America wants is an order that allows its transnational corporations to reap all of the resources. And when they talk about stability, what they mean is stability for American multinational corporations to rip off all of the wealth from those countries. Yeah? So when I see, for example, the call for democratizing Cuba, whatever happened to the principle of non-interference? Cuba has its system, right? I am not aware that Cuba have attempted to impose, and several governments here of different complexities have had relations with Cuba, right? Don't forget, Fidel Castro visited here not under the NGM and the Grenada Revolution. Fidel Castro came here when Dr. Keith Mitchell was in office, right? He came here when NDC maintained relations with Cuba, right? There was a little period when there was some challenges, but that worked out. Cuban doctors came back after the invasion, after the Americans invaded, killed many of them, right? And left. They left us without a hospital, right? They bombed our mental home and killed 40-something people, and they left us with what you see there now. Cuba came back. It has its doctors here. It has its specialists here, right? In many fields. Cuban specialists here are operating, whether it is in neurology, whether it is in cardiology, whether it is in general surgery. There are many specialists of Cubans working here. And then this talk about trafficking. That's nonsense. Cuba has its system in which it does things. There's no human trafficking in Cuba.
So one of the greatest contentions where that is concerned with the medical programs throughout the region, it is being perpetuated that the workers are here working. When I say here, I mean in the individual territories where they operated, and instead of they getting paid the money sent to the Cuban government, and they view that as exploitation.
What is exploitation? There has not been a single, forget what the Americans are saying for the moment, because the Americans are not sending us any doctors. Yes? I have an appointment with a Cuban neurologist. There's no American here for me to go to, and the mass of other people. Yes? I am still, as I sit here right now, I am still servicing student loans. In the Cuban system, they have their own way of doing things. You get education from the cradle to the grave. It costs you personally not 1 cent. In the Cuban education system, from infantry right up to when you become a professional, You get your books. You get your meals. You get transport to go to school. You get your uniform. Right? All of these things are provided by the Cuban state. You go to university free. Everything is provided. One of my kids, I have three children. Two are medical doctors. One studied in Cuba. And everything was provided. What happened if the Cuban state says, okay, in order to continue this program, now that we have educated you and you've gone out to work, a portion of what you earn must come back in the kitty so we could educate other people to continue that program. Remember, I wonder if people must recall where we were during COVID and the role that Cuba played. The first batch of people to come when that massive earthquake hit Haiti were Cubans. Cubans have been all over Africa. When Ebola broke out, it was Cubans that was there. Cuba, a small Caribbean country, was able to send contingent of doctors all the way to Italy. So they have a system that works for them. Right? I am still paying a student loan because I live under a purely capitalist system. Right? Where if you don't have money determines everything. In Cuba, that's not the case. So I see nothing morally or ethically wrong. There have been not a single report coming forward from the ILO that the Cuban educational program and its cooperation exchange in medicine is amongst the trafficking in human labor. And they talk about they don't look. We have a program with Canada. Why don't the Americans go over to the Canadians? When you go to Canada to pick fruits, when you land in Canada, you don't have your passport. When you land in Canada, the farm to which you are assigned, they hold your passport, and for very obvious reasons.
That you can't spread.
No, you can't. But remember, Cuba has, for every medical specialist you see here, that is hundreds of thousands of dollars that the state has invested in you. A student in Cuba gets 100% of everything. You get food, right? You get books. You get clothes. You are transported to school free. You get all your games wear, right? Cuba produces some of the world's leading ballerinas. In every sphere in sports, Cuba gives a good account of itself, be it in boxing, whatever you have it. All of that is provided by the state. They have their own internal system. So if you come in a government-to-government arrangement, now they have Cubans who have completed a government-to-government arrangement, and they've come back to Grenada and they're living here, just like Grenadian citizens. Some of them are in their own private practice, right? And you go to them. But if you're in a government program, state to state, right? So it is nonsense. The Americans are just trying to find a way in order to tighten that noose. And today, they've cut off the sources of energy. And ships that are going to Cuba, and they're threatening people, even Mexico, that if you send oil to Cuba, could you imagine that your own oil that you have, in other words, my own food in my refrigerator, I am told that if I pass on the Carnage and I see someone hungry and I gave them a loaf of my bread from my fridge, I will be punished.
Well, as it is often said, that is what is confronting us at the moment. What is the resolve? How do we resolve this?
Well, it's a very complicated question.
Because in the news, right? I listened to the clip this morning. President Trump is saying Cuba is next. What happened to Nicolas Maduro? I haven't heard of him since his eviction from.
Well, since he's been kidnapped, but both he and his wife are locked away in an American prison. Totally fabricated nonsense, of course. And the latest I've learned is that he has no finances. The Americans have blocked the transfer of any money to his defense team in the United States so that they can mount a legal defense. So essentially, he will have to rely on a state-provided attorney. And you know what that means, right? To answer totally made-up charges, all right, about cocaine trafficking,
narco trafficking,
and the whole ridiculousness of this is the fact that he's also charged with being in possession of firearms. This is a head of state, you know. This is a head of state. If somebody broke the law, there are extradition treaties on there. You don't go in the dead of the night with the largest military force ever assembled, kidnap the man, take him away, together with his wife, and lock him up in a prison. That's the America we are dealing with. That's the America that tells Canada and that tells European countries, I want Greenland. And I will have Greenland. I'll take Greenland. And Canada must become a 51st state of the... That is a degree of lunacy we are dealing with. But let's see how it plays out. The mighty... In my lifetime, I've seen the following. I've seen the invasion of Vietnam by the Americans, and I've seen the American defeat. I've seen the American defeat in Afghanistan. After America's longest military engagement, they had to pack up and leave. So let's see. Now, what can we do? In respect of Cuba, I think Grenada needs to demonstrate its appreciation for what Cuba has done. And you can't talk about Cuba or extend solidarity to Cuba without recognizing there's a government in Cuba. So it is a Cuban state, the Cuban government, and the Cuban people. There are some Caribbean politicians now who make no reference to the Cuban government. They talk about helping the Cuban people, repeating the same nonsense that the Americans are saying. The Americans are saying they are allowing oil to go to Cuba, but not to the Cuban government and not to go to the Cuban state. Well, if the Cuban state owns the electricity grid and you are allowing oil to go to Cuba, doesn't it mean that you have to get it to the Cuban government, the Cuban state? So it's utter nonsense. But what has happened here is that we fear everything. We fear we will lose our passports. Now we are accepting deportees. We have now changed the terminology. So we call them now third party
citizens.
No.
Refugees.
Yeah. I forget the term that our prime minister has used, trying to soften the seal. Right? Trump has said that they are going to deport criminals. They are going to deport people with mental issues, and they're going to deport anyone. Grenada is in no position to determine who is going to be sent to them. So stop mamagaing us by saying it's a good thing for us. But when I heard the Dominican Prime Minister...
he's your friend. Roosevelt is your friend?
Well, yes, I have to openly, but quite frankly, I am absolutely flabbergasted and disappointed. When he tries to sell us a lemon, that is a good thing for Dominica, and they're going to be receiving people with skills that Dominica needs. You think when Trump packed people on a plane without due process in the United States, and a lot of that has been happening, and he puts you on a plane, and the plane arrives at Point Saline, how are you sending them back to America? How are you going to determine who is a criminal? Somebody comes from Afghanistan, can't speak the language. Who has to take care of them? My tax dollars. Where are they going to stay? They're going to compete for housing with Grenadians who need housing. Where are you going to put them? How are you going to support them? Those with criminal records, how do you know what background information you would have on them? Do you know where they come from?
So with the exchange of the prison, well, not exchange, but the acceptance of the third country deportees, if you want to refer to them as that, wouldn't there be a process, a period of due diligence on the background and so forth?
Really?
I'm asking.
Those people are being sent to El Salvador, even where U.S. courts say they shouldn't be sent. Even where U.S. courts say they shouldn't be sent. And that's happening in the United States. Could you imagine what is going to happen here?
Okay, folks, let me tell you this, all right? Unfortunately, we are going to forego the BBC this morning. I think it's merited. We will entertain a couple calls to share your opinion, and we said it and there it goes. Let's accommodate this call as we will go up to 8:15. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, welcome to the program.
Okay, Mr. Chester Humphrey, how are you doing?
Well, as I said this morning, for me personally, I'm fine. But otherwise, I'm deeply disturbed and troubled.
You're not fine for Trump to blow you away.
What he said?
You're not fine for Trump to blow you away.
Well, I don't know. Exercising power as America sees.
Well, what are you saying about CARICOM? Carry there or carry gone?
No, well, it's shameful how some of the states are behaving and some of the things, because as I'm saying, they are bridled by fear. And it is said that a coward dies several times before his death.
I think CARICOM, like CARICOM mashup.
That's part of the American design.
Secondly, the CARICOM has a government gone in and St. Kitts. I heard no Prime Minister of the Caribbean talking about the way the 3D fishermen in St. Lucia. They come and they murder these men and nobody said nothing. Hello?
Okay. Let me say this.
Nothing, nobody make a comment about that.
Well, I mean, again. The Americans, when they launched on the 3rd of February, is the 3rd? The war started?
Yeah.
They murdered 160-something school children. Not a single CARICOM state issued a word of condemnation or a word of condolence in that act done by the Americans. But as soon as Iran started to respond, they have come up with resolutions and issued statements in respect to the Gulf states that are harboring American bases, right? That are used in this unlawful, immoral breach of international law in this war launched by the Zionists in combination with the Americans, to the extent that European allies have refused to participate. Not a single word of condemnation or concern or expression of human condolences or empathy to the 160-something school children that were murdered when the Americans bombed that school. So it tells you the state of things in the Caribbean. It tells you the state to which our politicians have been reduced. None of the two political parties here have issued a single statement. The primary or main political opposition in this country have said not a word, either on their attempts to denigrate the Cuban medical program, from which they were all beneficiaries. So there is what I call an epidemic of silence in respect of Cuba, and that really breaks my heart.
Okay, let's take this other call. Caller, good morning, welcome. Caller, good morning, welcome to the program. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller there. 435-2041.
But we ought not to present ourselves as being totally paralyzed. We must separate ourselves from the state institutions. And I know in the hearts of hearts, the Grenadian people feel for Cuba.
Okay.
I know that. I get people speak to me every day. And therefore, I am initiating a national solidarity campaign with Cuba. And I've already begun to pull together a grouping of individuals who feel the same as me, but who ought not to or will not be paralyzed into inactivity, to pull together a day or week of solidarity with Cuba, and announcements of that will be made very shortly.
Okay.
We want to, well, I don't know, we want to gather support for Cuba. We want to open, as we did in 2008, when we raised over $100 and something thousand for Cuba. We want to do the same thing. Today in Cuba, the Cubans need a lot of solar-powered kind of equipment to help them. I know that several nations, China and so on, have sent massive amounts of support, but of course, everything is, I mean, things don't change overnight. Hospitals have to close, schools have to close. Things are very challenging for the Cubans at this time. Transportation has to be rationed, etc., etc., etc. It's a very cruel imposition on a people who have given so much to the world. Yeah. Right? The removal of apartheid in South Africa was not possible without the involvement of Cuba. The independence of Angola, right, was not possible without Cuba, right? And the way in which Cuba has helped most of mankind. For a country without any significant natural resource, Cuba gives whatever little it has, it shares with the world.
And that matters, that counts.
And it's the time for the world now to share with Cuba. And we in Grenada must express our gratitude, and I think what is needed now is leadership in order to galvanize public opinion and public sympathy in Grenada. And this program this morning is a launch towards doing that. And in the coming days, the Grenada population will hear more of our attempts in order to express our gratitude to our Cuban family. Cuba is a Caribbean country. Many Grenadians, long before the Cuban Revolution, went to Cuba. I understand that my great-grandmother lived in Cuba for a while before moving on to the United States. Many, many years, somewhere in the 1910 or somewhere thereabout, right? So we have this long relationship with a people and a country that has given so much to the world. Not just Grenada, but so much to the world. For us to now have the silence of our political leadership is heartbreaking.
We have a caller. Caller, good morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome. All right, that seems to be a challenge with that call. So, what exactly can we expect? Let's try to engage this call. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, morning, innocent, morning to the listeners and the viewers, and also morning, Senator Humphrey. Thank you very much for your effort. Like you, I feel almost more than saddened when I see how particularly the Caribbean and the African leaders are behaving when it comes to Cuba. I think, and I'm glad that you talk about the separation from the state and the population as far as it's concerned with us. Because we can do things, and I am prepared to be supportive of whatever. It pains me, you know. I mean, even the people
who were trained in Cuba, the people who got the I was denied the opportunity to go to Cuba. I have issues with glaucoma and I was denied the opportunity under the previous government to go. But I know a lot of people who went to Cuba and got treatment. The other thing about it is that the Americans threatened sanctions. Why are you afraid of sanctions? I mean, Cuba have gone through faced sanctions for over 60 years, and we're afraid of sanctions. Let's do what has to be done. I mean, in this case, I mean, just imagine, can you imagine if, for instance, we have a natural disaster this year and it affects Cuba? I mean, they were unable to, they are unable to prepare themselves as they've done. They have examples. They are the people, we could learn so much from them and should be grateful. After Haiti, we should bow our heads down. I mean, we should look up to it. I mean, to Cuba for what it represents in terms of the decolonization and in resistance. I mean, I'm getting a little emotional now, but I mean, it's saddened. And we must ask those in authority to stop playing games. I'm disappointed with all the Caribbean leaders, every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Kola.
Well, I will have to take Prime Minister Mia Mottley out of that bunch. She stands out as a beacon. She's made the point, and she's repeated it several times, that if it means that her passport or visa will be taken away from going from the United States, she stands at Cuba. And Prime Minister Mia Mottley represents the best of us, and goes back to the days when Caribbean politicians led the world in the anti-colonial struggle. She goes back to that generation of people like George Padmore, goes back to that generation of people even like T. Albert Marichaux, of Michael Manley, goes back to that generation of Eric Williams and the struggle for independence and for the removal of the American base. To what we have now in Trinidad and Tobago is really just a stain on the history of the Caribbean people who has stood at the forefront of the anti-colonialist movement and who have provided so many renowned and distinguished Caribbean intellectuals in the struggle, whether it be Walter Rodney and others. C.L.R. James and others, Amy Césaire and Frantz Fanon, and all of these stalwart individuals who have left a landmark in the struggle to create a better life for the mass of people in the world. All right. What we have now, and this is where the Caribbean misses Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. In recent times, he has made statements that he thought it was a mistake the way in which Caribbean leaders are conducting themselves. Of course, he's in opposition now, and I know he doesn't want to be stridently in opposition or openly criticizing his colleagues. But he stands on a pinnacle together with Mia Mottley, and his solution is not to offer the democratization. I mean, who the hell are we? Cuba has its own internal mechanism in which it does things, and quite frankly, it is more democratic, right? The Cuba system in which the Cuba parliament is constituted is far more democratic than all of these so-called Westminster democracies that we have here. I mean that's open. We will have a debate on that. I know many people will challenge me on that. So I don't want to introduce that question here. But it just irks me that a Caribbean politician could ordain himself with the audacity to suggest and to say so, sitting in a grouping with Trump at the head, to make that statement in the company of Trump. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Blood crawling.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Blood crawling. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So that as you said, this program is a launch pad for that yes. campaign that you want to get a little more specific.
Well, the ideas that I have excuse me, which I have discussed with a number of people, and we're trying to put stuff together in order to do so, is first of all, we want to have a day of solidarity or a week of solidarity with Cuba. I believe that something public should be held in which Grenadians can be invited to attend. I believe that we need to launch a fund, a solidarity fund, to raise as much, because with the difficulties happening in Cuba right now, it means that the resources of the state it will be severely stretched. So whatever we could do in terms of raising funds to be able to buy medicines, right, so that we could at least do something to give back
something
to
tangible.
Cuba. Right, because remember that right now there's shortages of medicines. Even things like oxygen in the hospital, which require electricity. Because there's no electricity. Trump has put an embargo on oil, so there's no electricity. There are long blackouts. And then there was a problem with the grid a few days ago, and that led to longer periods of blackout. Now, yesterday, Cuba was hit with an earthquake. As I understand it, the extent of the damages, I have no reports on it. I don't know whether there was loss of life. And then we are now facing the upcoming hurricane season will be here with us shortly in a few months. So, I mean, the people are being grounded. And I'm saying to you, we have to understand the capacity for evil. When we can look at on our televisions and see, with the concurrence and support of the United States, what Israel has done to the people of Gaza.
Let's
I mean, how much more humane, how much more inhumane,
yeah.
How much more inhumane can we get? Yeah. And remember, these are people who talked about what Hitler did to them.
Right.
And we are living now to see them doing to others worse than what Hitler did. How does an infant just born be bombed? Hospitals destroyed. Schools destroyed. Not a single teaching institution exists in Gaza. Everything has been completely blown up. And the few buildings that left standing, the Israelis, before they withdraw, blew them up just to ensure. Now it's winter. There's no water. There's no sewer. And then they have banned the UN from distributing food. Yeah, we've seen it live on television. This is not a make-up something. It's not a rewrite of history. This is what Israel is doing. So-called God's chosen people are doing to other human beings.
Caller, good morning. Caller, good morning. All right, that caller seems to have a problem. Chess, we have to end here. Let's try this for the final time. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, welcome to the program.
I'm holding to get on.
Yes, you are on the program.
We've seen it live on television.
You need to turn down your volume, please.
It's not a make-up something. It's not a rewrite of history. This is what Israel is doing.
Okay, caller, you need to get that sorted out. I feel you. I can see it. I can feel it. And there's a key word here, empathy. I think we as a people, Grenadian people, and as a regional people, we need to be more empathetic and reach out to the Cubans as we can. Good morning, caller. Caller, you need to turn your volume down, please. Let's go back to the phone. Good morning. Caller, you cannot do both at the same time. You cannot be attempting to talk to us on the program and still have your TV or radio up. Just any closing words? Emotionally as they may be. I've never seen you that emotional.
I'm almost speechless, which is not.
That doesn't happen.
Which is not me.
Yeah.
I will call on my fellow citizens to give support to the program that we are about to launch. It will have many dimensions to it. And I'll be back at some point, not too long from now.
As soon as you're ready, or got the number, just call.
To enunciate and to give details on this program of solidarity that the Grenadian people are morally bound to give to our Cuban compatriots who are facing the most difficult moment, right? Facing a difficult moment, and it requires our solidarity. This is what I could. It's difficult. It's really a challenge. And what breaks my heart is the cowardice of the Caribbean political leadership.
Okay.
And people who I thought at one moment I felt pride in being associated with them. But today when I see how they behave, there comes a time when people have to do the right thing.
Even if it hurts.
Even if it hurts.
Yeah.
There comes a time. And we can't keep running. As I said on a program for you before, the worst thing you can do with a bully is to keep running. Then you have to become a long-distance runner. Mark Carney of Canada has shown how to confront Trump. The Germans are learning how to confront Trump. All right? The world is learning how to confront Trump. And as I say, Trump is only a personification of the American empire and where it's at. Yeah. In this war, executed by the Zionists with the help of the Americans, the world is seeing that this is an unjust war. And the lies that are being told, open, brazen lies that are being told, in order to perpetuate this on mankind. Because while the bombs are dropping in Iran, the threats against the world isn't coming from China. The threats against the world isn't coming from Cuba. The threats against the world is coming from the United States of America and the Trump administration.
Senator, former Senator Chester Humphrey, I thank you for joining me this morning. And as you know, the GBN is open whenever you are ready. We're only a phone call away.
Yeah.
And I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I really do. And we'll talk again.
Yeah, because finally, this is not an ideological question, you know. This is a question of basic humanism. This is the question of basic humanism. You can't store food in your refrigerator because there's no electricity. You can't get around because there's no fuel.
Garbage are piling up. Garbage is piling up.
Incubators are being turned off because the electricity goes. Right? Even if you have a standby generator, it has to run by fuel. So this is not a battle of ideology. This is a case of simple humanism. And if we proclaim that we are a religious country, primarily a Christian country, then the conscience which is forged by that view or that belief must be activated to compel you to empathize with the Cuban people and to move beyond empathy, do something in practice. I believe, as little as it is, we can help to procure medicines which Cuba can't get at the moment. Right? And we have a duty. And we must do. While we must do more than the least we can do, we could not fail to do even the least.
Right.
Right? And on those words I end. And I, together with others, will be back on this program shortly.
Definitely.
To enunciate
the plans and how we go forward.
Plans of how we go forward, because I've been in touch with several people and there have been ongoing discussions as to how we should do.
All you need to do
I want to thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Give us a call. We're just a phone call away. Folks, that's it for the conversation this morning. Thank you for being there with us. We look forward to your engagement and your support to that initiative that will be announced and enunciated right here shortly. Bye for now.